Urtext editions.
Urtext?
Is it important to have an Urtext?
Hi guys, I'm Stefan, and in this video I want to talk to you about Urtext sheet music for piano. What is it, where it comes from, how is it different to other sheet music, what are the pros and cons, and should beginners use Urtext or is it only beneficial for more advanced players? Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so, and if you like what you see, give this video a thumbs up. I would like to thank my Patreons for supporting this channel. If you'd like to join them, links will be below too. You must have seen this sign before on sheet music, which is Urtext. Quite a few companies do this now, and basically it's supposed to be the best kind of source you can get for certain composers and sheet music. But in order to understand more about Urtext and why there was a need for it, we need to talk about the history of notation. Nowadays, everything is so simple. We have notational software, everything is standardized, we all use the same clefs, we use the same kind of notational symbols. But the further you go back in time, the more diverse notation was and the less understandable. So if you go back to early Baroque music, for example, or even Renaissance music, the sheet music was mostly just a broad framework for what the music was supposed to sound like, and the actual performer was in charge of realizing or making that composition come alive. To give you an example, many of Caccini's songs from the Baroque era were basically one melody line, and in the bottom you had a single note, so figured bass, and whoever was playing it on a keyboard instrument or a lute or whatever they were accompanying the singer with, they had to come up with chords and accompaniment based on those single notes and figured bass numbers. And the melody was only a guidance for the singer. They could ornament it and change it as they wished to make it more expressive. This is just a very extreme example of how little connection there was between the actual performance and the sheet music compared to nowadays, when we obsess about every little detail in the notation and we want to follow the sheet music with 100% accuracy. But as we got later on into the late Baroque era, early Classical era, there was more and more added into the sheet music, more dynamics, more directions from the composers. And as you get into the Romantic and early 20th century, the sheet music almost became a Bible where you had to follow every single direction by the composer to make it sound like exactly how they wished it to be played. So this is where Urtext comes in. Nowadays we play a lot of music. We play Baroque music, we play classical music, we play Romantic era music, we play contemporary music, and we rely on sheet music. And the general mindset today is that we have to follow the sheet music because we want to play it accurately. So let's go back to the 19th century, the Romantic era. In the Romantic era, publishers and performers felt a very strong need to put their own musical mindset onto music that was written in a different era. So when Romantics started playing Bach's music and Mozart's music and Beethoven's early music, they kind of put their romantic mind onto it and they played it in a very different way than music was played in the classical era. And that's where the problem started, that music basically got transposed into a different style. So all of a sudden they were playing classical music in a romantic style because they thought that's the best and most advanced style of playing. And not only performers were doing this, but music publishers started editing sheet music and publishing it with these annotations that were not actually part of the original score, making it sound more romantic and less authentic. So that's when, in the 1950s or after the 1950s, Urtext really started to flourish in rebellion to this practice. Now, what does the word Urtext mean? It's a German phrase, and Ur means original or authentic or true, and text obviously means text. So it basically refers to the original text. And the ideology behind Urtext was to bring back the sheet music of these eras in a way that's not tainted by anyone's stylistic choices, so using really what the composer wanted and nothing else. Let the performer decide how they want to interpret the original source without having the publisher's annotations. So this sounds very simple, doesn't it? But it's not quite so simple. Now, the problems come from three areas. Here is the first one. This is original sheet music from the Anna Magdalena notebook. As you can see, many of these were handwritten manuscripts. So when you have handwritten manuscripts, there's already a problem with that, because what if you can't decide what the handwriting is supposed to mean? What if you cannot read it properly? What if it's so smudged or whatever that you can't figure out what's there? And this happens very, very often. So publishers and musicologists who basically work on these Urtext editions, they have to use their best knowledge to make decisions on what is supposed to be there. Obviously, once you make a decision, it's not the original score anymore because somebody made a decision. So here is one of the limitations of Urtext. Also, when you look at Urtext editions, they do change certain things. So for example, here is the Urtext version of the same minuet in G major by Petzold, and here is the autograph score. So the first thing that I see is that the autograph score is not using the same clefs. The right hand is using a C clef, and in the Urtext we're using a treble clef. So already a decision, a change has been made, because nowadays we don't read in the C clef anymore. So even though we want to be very original, if we printed music in the C clef, most people would really struggle to read it quick enough. But apart from that, everything is kept the same. So there is no articulation added, no dynamics added, no tempo marks added, and no expressive instructions added. And this is the biggest difference between Urtext and late Romantic or early 20th century editions. Now let's compare this minuet in G to a standard edition for beginners. As you can see, this one has nothing apart from the notes and the ornaments. This one has a tempo mark, it has slurs, it has dynamics, it has staccatos, and it has fingering. So a lot has been added into this score. And the big question here is, what's better for you as a beginner and what's better for you as an advanced player? Now, when you're a beginner and you don't know anything about musical eras and you don't know anything about style, you're just trying to learn some basic pieces, you would have a very hard time playing from Urtext. And the reason for that is because in order to make Urtext sound stylistically appropriate, you need to have a lot of knowledge from that time. How were these notes played? What was the performer doing to make these notes come alive? And usually these are the things that modern editions were adding into the score. Now, are all of them accurate? Probably not, but at least they provided a guidance for a good and nice performance, and also it helped you work on articulation, helped you work on dynamics. Another example I'm going to show you here is again another famous one. It's the Turkish March by Mozart, which everybody knows, the rondo. And this one is an edited edition, and this one is a fairly Urtext edition. When most students start playing this piece from the non-edited version, they get extremely confused because everybody knows this tune and most people play it with more or less the same articulation and dynamics. So we got used to a certain sound, and if you don't have that notation in the sheet music, it's not going to sound the way you are expecting it to sound. Instead of the 4/16 notes here, we have ornaments. We don't have any staccatos or legatos in the piece. So the modern notation has a lot of these, which really helps somebody learning this for the first time to understand how the piece should sound roughly. And also, if you have no teacher, someone to guide you and tell you what to do with these kind of decisions, you're on your own. So you need some kind of inspiration. Another problem with Urtext is that if you go back to the Romantic period, then many composers, or late classical period, Beethoven, Liszt, Chopin, they performed their pieces very differently when they performed it multiple times. So for example, Liszt was very famous for playing his pieces very differently at each performance, because obviously he was the composer, so he could do whatever he wanted, and he improvised quite a lot. And so did Chopin. His compositional method was based on improvisation and notation, so many times he came up with something, then notated it down, and then changed it again. When he was teaching it to his students, he changed it again. And the publishers of the time sometimes published this for the first time, and then the composer changed it again or corrected it and then sent it to another publisher, which was again a slightly different variation of that notation. So what that means is that for certain pieces we have an autograph, we have a first edition, and we have a second edition, and all three of them are going to have sections which are different, whether it's notes, whether it's chords, whether it's tempo, articulation, or dynamics. So even the Urtext is going to struggle to decide what's the actual original, because the composer himself didn't really have an original source, because he kept changing it throughout the years, even in his own lifetime. So which one should we play? Should we play the autograph, or should we play the one that he changed twice because he thought that was sounding better? So now that you understand what Urtext is, what it was supposed to fix from music history, and how it has its own problems, the conclusion is that for beginners, very, very early beginners, Urtext might not be the best choice, because you're on your own given stylistic choices, dynamics, articulation choices, and you might not know how to interpret certain notational marks or stylistic choices. So if you're a complete beginner, it's always better to go with something that has some kind of guidance, or have a teacher who can give you that guidance. For advanced players who have all of that knowledge from musical eras and about style, Urtext is a much better choice, because your interpretation is not tainted by other people's opinions. So you can read the actual Urtext and then decide how you want to color that based on your musical knowledge. Now, when it comes to editions, the two biggest Urtext publishers are Henle, which is this one here, and the other one is Bärenreiter, which is that one there. Now that's usually a blue one. This is a special edition, that's why it's yellow. So one of them is kind of light blue, the other one is more a vivid blue, and they went through so many composers' entire catalogs. When it comes to non-Urtext editions, there are quite a lot of publishers now who kind of publish quasi-Urtext editions. For example, ABRSM publishes their own versions of all this catalog, and many times they basically try to stick with the Urtext look, but they add very good fingerings and they add very good suggestions for tempo, but they add in footnotes what is their own suggestion and what is the original manuscript. Another publisher I really like is Alfred's Masterwork series. And again, in these editions, many times you will see the original music notation in black, and in light gray they're going to add slurs, articulation, and dynamics and tempo marks, but you know that whatever is in light gray is the publisher's suggestion or opinion, and what is black is from the original score. So this way you get your guidance, but you can also decide whether you want to go with that, and you can see what's the actual original score. I call these hybrid notation or hybrid scores, because they kind of have both. So this was my little spiel about Urtext. I hope it gave you an insight into why this is such an important thing in classical music, and why it became such a sensation in the second half of the 20th century, and why we are leaning more towards Urtext now in the professional world, and why for beginners editing notation is still quite a good idea. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe for more.